Major news outlets have been reporting for nearly a week now that Russia is sharing information with Iran that could help them target American troops across the Middle East. It is hard to understate just how big a deal this is, as was Trump's response to being asked about it for the first time last Friday during, of course, a college sports roundtable at the White House. And you almost have to see it again to believe it.
It sounds like the Russians are helping Iran target and attack Americans now.
That's an easy problem compared to what we're doing here. But can I be honest? It's just, I have a lot of respect for you. You've always been very nice to me. What a stupid question that is to be asking at this time.
What a stupid question that is to be asking at this time. All props to my old buddy Peter Doocy, because it definitely wasn't a stupid question. And just sit that in your mind for a moment. Now, to make matters worse, Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, was also asked about Russia sharing intel with Iran this week. And here's what he said.
On the call with the president, the Russians said that they have not been sharing. That's what they said. So, you know, we can take them at their word.
No, actually, we cannot take Russia at its word. I think we've known that for quite some time now, for reasons that are quite apparent and obvious. Seems even Trump knows you can't say such things like that on live TV, because this morning, in a radio interview with Fox host Brian Kilmeade, Trump admitted that Russia is helping Iran.
You think Putin is helping them?
I think he might be helping them a little bit, yeah, I guess. And he probably thinks we're helping Ukraine, right?
And you are, right?
Yeah, we're helping them also. And so he says that. And China would say the same thing, you know. It's like, hey, they do it and we do it, in all fairness.
I've been really looking forward to talking with my next guest. Fiona Hill served as a senior director on the National Security Council during Trump's first term. She's a top expert on all things Russia and many other things, and she joins me now. Fiona, thank you so much for being here. It's great to see you. Let me start by just asking you, I mean, in addition to all of the public comments I just talked through, the administration, as I think everybody watching knows, temporarily lifted sanctions on some Russian oil to try and contain energy prices. That, of course, hasn't really worked. But looking at the totality of all of this, I think a lot of us are like, whoa, what's happening? Are you surprised or shocked by any of it?
Well, sadly not, because, you know, many other periods of crises in the past when there's been either a discussion about, say, taking Russia and Russian oil off the global market, or Iranian oil, or any other major producer for that matter, the concerns have all been, as we're seeing them unfold now, that you would have a major shock that would have reverberations of the global economy and here in the United States. So, you know, unfortunately, a lot of this was completely foreseeable, as have been many of the other issues that you've just raised there. Including the Russian president's desire to help Iran in some way in its standoff with the United States.
There have been so many moments during both Trump terms when you wonder, I have wondered, I think a lot of people covering it and watching it have wondered, what is happening inside the Situation Room? I mean, did they not discuss the Strait of Hormuz and what could happen? Did they not discuss the number of casualties? Did they not discuss what the military? There's a lot of questions. You've actually sat in there. You sat in there during his first term. What do you think is happening in there right now? Or what do you think has been happening over the last couple of weeks?
Well, look, in the first term, he rarely went into the Situation Room. There was only a couple of occasions I actually remember him doing that. He mostly had people come to him in the Oval Office. So, you know, in terms of whatever deliberations are going on at the level of his cabinet, whether they're taking place in the Situation Room or not, is, you know, somewhat immaterial, because it's whoever managed to get to talk to him, you know, in front of the Resolute desk or in a, you know, whatever other settings they're managing to grab him. And what I fear is happening is, on the president's part, a lot of magical thinking, because people are too scared, too reticent, too intimidated, or, you know, for their own personal political purposes, not willing to kind of put forward these kinds of cautions and caveats. Because, look, we see from just his dismissal of the questions that are being posed by journalists that he doesn't want to hear any naysaying. And, he obviously doesn't even think that it's relevant to have to deal with the irrefutable facts that other countries are going to take action. He just kind of assumes that somehow they won't.
There's been a lot of speculation about this, but I've been wondering what you think. I mean, after what happened during last year's 12-day war with Iran and what happened with Venezuela earlier this year, Do you think that Trump felt like any conflict can be started and stopped with a few airstrikes and by taking out the leader? I mean, does he see all of these wars as different as they are, as different as the dynamics are, as kind of the same?
Yes, in many respects, because he has an unfailing faith in U.S. military powers, he says over and over again, and also an unfailing faith in himself. And if we look back, to earlier times in his first administration, I mean, he did make the step of striking back against Assad in Syria, when, of course, famously President Obama did not. And, of course, he also took out the Iranian Quds leader, Soleimani. And, as far as he was concerned, there was really no blowback for either of those episodes. And so I think, that on top of the recent incidents that you've just laid out have really emboldened him and furthered that line of thinking that he can pretty much get away with anything. I mean, in fact, it's something he says all the time.
It seems like you're saying that he doesn't consider, this doesn't surprise me, the kind of long line of dominoes that are falling and may soon fall as a result of this war against Iran, which kind of everybody's talking about. There's tons of media analysis about, smart people like you are out there talking about. But I guess, do you think he just doesn't consider that?
I think he looks at things on one-on-one. And I mean, that's something that I think has been very apparent and should have been apparent over the two sets of his administrations now, that he tends to look at things, honestly, in something of a vacuum. It's between his interaction with Putin, for example, his interaction with Netanyahu, his interaction with, the Iranian leaders, Russia and the United States, Iran and the United States. It's all pretty binary. And that is really problematic because the world is a very complex place. It's not just a world of two superpowers, as it was during the Cold War when, most of his views of international relations were formed. And he doesn't really see how you have second, third and fourth and even more order effects, and how all of these different leaders operate and interact together, and frankly what the dynamics within their states are. I mean, we complain about other leaders like Putin, for example, not factoring in the dynamics in, say, Ukraine or elsewhere. Well, Trump is just as guilty of doing the same in Iran.